So here's a fun story. Italian province orders DNA tests for all dogs to trace and find owners in poo crackdown.
Just take that in for a second. Just really absorb that. There is an Italian province with its local authority who are ordering dog owners to have the dog's DNA taken in onto a database so they can then test dog poo. Imagine how many dog poos there are out there just in a park, on the street or whatever. And they're going to test those and then trace it back to the dog owner and then find them.
Like, imagine how gutted you would be if you were the, father of a murder victim.
Like, imagine you kept hold of a piece of evidence or something and you go to the police, you hand it in, and you go like, yeah, I think this could have the killer's DNA on it. Like, could you test it, maybe?
And they're like, oh, well, like public services, we're really starved of funding. It costs like £25,000 every time you run a DNA test, and there's no guarantee that we'll even find any usable DNA on it. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, but we can't do this.
And that's not an outrageous situation. Do you know how many times police are asked to run DNA tests and do photo analysis, and all of it costs money, and they're starved of funds? Imagine being the father of a murder victim, and you walk out of the police station, you're like, oh, God, this country sucks. And then you open up the paper and you see this news story.
But you're seriously going to run DNA tests on dog poo? Really? We have money for that, do we?
Like, I know it's in Italy, it's not the UK, but Italy have a national debt too. They also have a deficit. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Italy were on the verge of an IMF bailout.
Apart from anything else, how are people comfortable with their dog's DNA being stored on a database?
Like, is this the point where we get a load of Labradors and Collies out the front of the council offices with placards like,
no to DNA tracking of dogs. The deep state wants your dog.
They're not content with 5G brainwashing and changing your DNA with jabs. Do you remember all that hysteria? It'll change your DNA. Not content with all that. Now they're coming for your dog, guys.
It's dog hysteria. They started with American XL bullies. Now they're going to track the DNA.
Pretty soon you're going to see poodles and Yorkshire Terriers with tinfoil hats on.
You know who I feel sorry for most? Is the university-educated criminologist physician-y types.
Like, imagine going to university for 5 or 6 years and spending £50,000 training, learning about the complexities of DNA structures. And then when you go to a dinner party and people are like, what do? You're like, well, I walk around parks testing dog poo.